Call meeting to order. Bylaws?
Yes.
Any other additions? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with the one addition.
I'll second it.
You heard the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have gallery presentations. Before I have any gallery presentations, I'd like to acknowledge Ross McDonald, our advisor from Welcome, and enjoy our meeting.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Red Tribe Boxing, is that on tonight?
Online.
Online? Okay. Is
Online.
Barry, is it? I think you're muted, Barry.
No, you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, you're good.
Okay. Thanks to Eladio for having me do a presentation. Thank you, everybody. Before I start, I'd like to thank Port Hawkesbury, town of Port Hawkesbury, for giving us the opportunity of last year hosting the boxing card, which was really excellent. I enjoyed it. Everybody enjoyed it. It was a nice atmosphere. We promote no alcohol or drugs in our event, and we only had one incident. It was one of our workers. We kind of removed him peacefully, but other than that, it was really excellent. Everybody enjoyed the show. And one thing I asked the audience, and I was meeting with a lot of people during the show, is what did they like about the boxing program or boxing show? A lot of them wanted more cultural show. So this year I'm planning to have more drummers, more dancers to perform before the event. Also, I like to bring more Mi'kmaq crafts people to the event, where we can also have a little craft show before the boxing. And one thing I like to say, it's not easy putting a card together. There's a lot of, Jason would know, I go through this in a month. In 1 month, I can set up 20 fights. And tomorrow I might have 10 fights, 5 fights, 4 fights. Something happens during a whole month. So by the end of the final day, we're lucky to have 13, 14, whatever fights we can get. This year, I'm trying to invite Toronto or Ontario to come down, Six Nations, for May 20th for our boxing event. And if you can help us through financial, we're a nonprofit organization. And what we do in our organization, a lot of our kids, we fundraise, we dress them up, we take them to events. I take my car, Jason too, we all work as a family. And a lot of our kids, I call them my kids, but they all become team members and we all work together. And it's not easy. There's times we have little obstacles and there's times it's not easy, because a lot of these kids never had that opportunity. Tell you the truth, guys, men and ladies and men, coming to Port Hawkesbury to me was a shock. It was the first time ever we got invited outside of our reservation to host a boxing card. And to me, that was like opening a new door, opening a new relationship. And when I got there, it was so comfortable. It was so peaceful. It's like I've been there before. And we told the guys, hey, I think this is where we should host our cards. So I'm hoping May 20th, I get that another opportunity to host our card in Port Hawkesbury, and to also invite other clubs from Six Nations to come down and participate, plus the other local clubs in Cape Breton area. I don't know what else to tell you, but if you have any questions, I would like to give my shot answering them.
Through you.
Okay, Barry, thank you for your presentation, and I'll ask council if they got any questions. Councilor Coyne?
Through you, Deputy. Barry, I do understand that the reason for the presentation tonight was to ask council to discount the venue the same as we did last year. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, that was one. Yes.
So just
It's a
to
great
refresh,
help. it's a great help for us to, if we can receive a discount. It's not that, I mean, we're not a $1 million club, I'll tell you that for sure. But to receive a discount would be an excellent opportunity for our club. So that's why I'm here, guys. I mean, asking if you guys would help and giving us the discount, and we'll provide a good show for town.
Okay, Barry, normally, we don't, during regular council, we don't do donations or whatever, but we did help you before, I know, and we'll bring
Yes.
that to committee of the whole, where I'm sure it'll be favorable, but we don't normally do donations at a regular council.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. It's my first time doing a presentation.
No, that's fine, and we
All you gotta
definitely.
do is ask. You get a yes or no, right?
No,
But
that's great.
this year, guys, I want to bring more cultural people, more crafts, Mi'kmaq crafts people to the event, where we can have an open, like what would you call it? An open market, an opportunity for our Mi'kmaq crafts people to show their like ribbon shirts, dresses, whatever they make in crafts. We would like to bring, I've been asking them, they're like to come down and maybe have one table or each whatever and sell their crafts to the public.
Yeah, we definitely supported you before, and I'm sure we'll support you again, and that's how we'll do it, and hopefully we'll be able to have you here on May 20th.
All right, guys. Well, Alio, thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Just any other
Now-
questions from council?
Any?
No.
No, that's fine, Barry. Thank you very much for your presentation.
All right, Lamont, awesome. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Thank you.
Got it.
Rest of the MPs, staff. Warren, Staff Sergeant Warren, sorry.
I have to have my own screen here because I can't see that and this. Can't see it there.
Yes, Dave, we asked for you to come here a few meetings ago, and we're glad that you made it, and we appreciate you coming.
Yeah, no, thanks very much for the information or for the invitation, and, it's nice to be here in person rather than virtually, as has been the case the last 2 years, right? Yeah, I just have a quick presentation for you tonight. I'm trying to be a little more high-tech, I guess you may call it. Normally I have paper and the sheets flying and fluttering here, but some of the coworkers convinced me you might want to try some technology, so bear with me here. I don't have the ability to click the slides on the screen. I think Terry meant for a while.
Yeah, I'll certainly do that, but if we can get the clicker working, we'll do that too.
Many hands.
It's a relay race.
Might have been better off with just the paper. Okay?
Yeah.
No, we're good.
I'm sure everybody had a busy day today.
Oh, yeah.
Not letting me,
I can click slides too.
but
Okay, right on.
Here we are.
Thank you, Aaron.
So thanks again. I'll get right into it here.
just,
Oh,
just ours,
perfect.
with that button.
Okay, well, set it over here for now, so I'll start moving by accident. The first few slides I have here, I think a number of you have likely seen before. It's just the setup of the district. So you have an idea of the positions that are allocated to the different detachments within Inverness County, and then the positions that are allocated into Port Hawkesbury. So second from the left, where you see the yellow boxes, those are the Port Hawkesbury detachment members in those two columns. The yellow boxes are the positions funded by or allocated to Port Hawkesbury detachment. I guess they all fall under the provincial contract. So, but those 6 positions are for Port Hawkesbury proper, you could say. And then we have a couple of county members, a Mulgrave member, and then a shared position between the county and Richmond County to cover Point Tupper. So that's what that yellow box with the green shading is there. And then the other positions you see elsewhere on the tree there, there's the different detachments throughout the county. So you have Shedicamp on the far left, Inverness second from the left, and then Wakeba with the two shaded pink boxes. Those are their CTA positions. And then on the far right, you have 3 positions in blue, and those are the additional officer positions that are funded by the province, and those members comprise our street crime enforcement unit. So they work at Port Hawkesbury also. So, and then you can see the 5 white boxes bordered in red are district or detachment assistant positions, and there's 2 in Port Hawkesbury, 1 in Wakeba, 1 in Shedicamp, and 1 in Inverness detachment. And this is just another breakdown of whereabouts through the district, the greater district that the members work. So there's 24 regular members total, and 5 public service employees. The community tri-bar positions are both in Waikato and Wakeba. And then the additional officers program funded by the province, there are 3 of them. And then as far as vehicles, we have 15 across the district, 10 of those are in Port Hawkesbury. We have Zodiac boats here most of the time in summer, both on the trailer in the water, and the snowmobiles stay up in Inverness where there's more snow in Shedicamp. And they also have housing up there for those members. So right into the stats, these are the top 25 offenses, I guess, offense types that responded to across the district here, and in Port Hawkesbury, which definitely makes it larger for himself. So there's 2022 total on there. There's also a total for 2021 for comparison. Most of the numbers are the same. There's not any big fluctuations. I think the total number of files responded to by Port Hawkesbury Detachment in 2022 was 1,678, and in 2021 that number was 1,686. So fairly consistent. There's a few crime prevention has gone from 104 files up to 124 this year, and digging into that, a lot of that is assisting EHS on calls, and I can discuss that a little more in depth later on, but certainly the healthcare system and the different components of that are under a lot of stress, and everybody's doing a great job with what they have, but we are responding a little more on medical calls than we have been in the past, and just assisting EHS, and there are times when we are actually taking people to the hospital when there's no ambulance available, so that ties up our members in Antigonish or at the Strait in those instances. I know it's hard for you to see all that, and I apologize I didn't have this to you earlier, but does anybody have any questions on?
I just see that through your worship, I see that the well-being check has taken a big jump.
Mm-hmm. So that again, a big jump. Mental health crisis folks that we're trying to assist and being called to assist, that's a big reason for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on this from council?
So on the previous screen, there was a line that said other. So these are the top 20 offenses that comprise that other category. So in there you would have 911 Act calls, animal-related calls, assistance to other police agencies. Again, the totals, they're fairly consistent from year to year. 2021, the total was 268 files made up these offenses, and 2022 was 252. So no big change there either.
Okay.
So staffing levels. So we had a bit of a challenge over the past year and a bit. We've had 3 positions vacant. So we've had 2 hard vacancies, member retirements. One of those was just in the fall that came out. Before that, the member was on medical leave for quite a bit of the year. So really for the entire year last year, I would say we were running 3 bodies short, which is quite a number. It's almost 30%, between 25 and 30. So that's had an impact on what we've been able to do, especially in town. I mean, no trouble answering the calls for service, we're doing that fine, but it's just the extra duties that we like to be able to do, get out in the community, and maybe even some of the schools, it impacts that, because when we have those bodies that aren't available on shift, the remaining members that are working, they're basically just answering the radio, and there's not a lot of time for any of that proactive work that we like to do. That's very important. We're making some progress though. We're running a program now in the RCP called the Experienced Officer Program, where we're trying to recruit officers from other police agencies across the country. And believe it or not, across the country, there's a lot of experienced members that in other police forces that want to come to Nova Scotia. So there's probably a lot that are from the Maritimes that went out west to work with various agencies, and there's an opportunity now for them to come back to the Maritimes with the RCMP. So we're pretty excited about that, and we've identified a member who's interested in well, two actually, they're interested in coming in Vanessa County. So that's looking positive for us. Also last year, there was a member on extended sick leave from November until October this fall. So that also had an impact on mostly our proactive policing, for sure. One of our detachment administrators recently took a job with Transport Canada. And so that position's vacant, so we'll be posting that position. So if there's anybody in town you feel may be interested in the job of at the RCMP detachment, be sure to let them know. But we'll get some postings around town. It'd be nice to fill that position with somebody from the community here locally.
Okay.
So there's two that work out of the Port Hawkesbury office, as I mentioned earlier. So the gal that's working for us there now, she's crackerjack, I'll tell you that, and she's doing well. Managing the workload right now, but it'd be nice to get her some support there and get that other position filled.
Yeah.
Okay, on to training. So now that COVID's in the rearview mirror, hopefully, our mandatory and developmental trainings is kind of back online for members. During the COVID years, in-person training was kind of curtailed, so there wasn't much going on other than the mandatory training. So now that we're beyond that, our training section's back up and running in Halifax, and the members are getting out not only for the mandatory training, but also those investigative courses that really add to the work we're able to do here in the community, such as certain interviewing, crime scene management, and our DRE course you see there is quite interesting. Actually, it takes members and they actually do a classroom portion for 2 weeks, but then they'll go down to Jacksonville, Florida, and they'll work on the street with the police down there. And the idea of that training is to get them to recognize people under the influence of different drugs. For drug-impaired driving, for instance, we don't have a lot of testing that we can do, similar that we can do for alcohol right now. So we rely a lot on what the members' observations are. So this training really enhances that and instructs them and shows them what to look for, how to document their notes so that we can be successful prosecuting people that maybe are under the influence of substances other than alcohol. So it'd be nice to get 2 members trained up and have them in the area to assist us here with that. So the policing priorities for 2022 we discussed were traffic safety, substance abuse, drug trafficking, and then community involvement and visibility. So traffic safety being, we've had reduced numbers working because of our shortages here. We haven't really gotten the numbers that I would like to see. Another issue there is our traffic unit, because of shortages elsewhere in the province or in northeast Nova or within the province. They haven't been able to come into Port Hawkesbury as much as they had been the year before to help us out. Like, we had a really good relationship with them. And not that they don't want to come back, it's just their numbers aren't there either. So where they were doing a lot of work for us here in town and able to generate quite a few stats, that number dropped off, and that's a big reason there as well. So I just broke down some stats there relative to town itself. And I know Reeve Street is always an interesting topic for folks, and they're interested in how many offenses are happening on Reeve Street, with the new configuration and whatnot. How many collisions we're seeing, has it reduced speeding? And I've presented before, and I've said yes, we have noticed a change in driving habits on Reeve Street because of that reorganization, I believe, reconfiguration. It doesn't allow for people to get up the speeds that they used to get up to. And I know you have your speed sign up there, and sometimes you do get those high readings, but that seems to be more at different hours of the night when there's not traffic on the road and members are less prone to be out there anyhow. So collisions on Reeve Street, they stayed fairly similar. In 2022, we had 12. In 2021, there was 9. Throughout the town, 2022, we had 28. In 2021, there was 31. Instances of speeding, charges, we have 16 in town proper for 2022. 2021, again, with our ability to be out on the road more, we had 26 charges in town. And on Reeve Street, 14 of those were in 2021 and 10 in 2022. So, just a question for you folks. Do you receive a lot of complaints about driving in and around town, specifically Reeve Street, or do you have other areas that people seem to be focusing on or complaining about?
Council, I don't know. Council?
Through you, your worship. I'm hearing a lot about, between the hours of 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. on Reeve Street.
Okay.
The speed and the loud mufflers.
Right.
Seem to know around those hours.
Yeah, around that time. Okay, that's good.
And more so during the week than the weekend, which is strange.
Okay. I know that, apologize for asking questions here, probably not following the right format, but I mean, there was a problem one time with the J brakes on the trucks. Is that still an issue, or does it seem to maybe?
Don't hear
Uh, I gotta say that I did have a complaint about the Jake brakes not that long ago, going down, leaving town, leaving
The other end.
at the bottom of Reeve Street, yeah, going down the hill. There were some people in that area.
Through your worship, the biggest complaint I'm hearing on Reeve Street is early morning, like between 4:30 and 6 a.m.
Okay.
And that's the tractor trailers pulling over to the side of the road in front of this building to walk over and get a coffee at Tim Hortons. So, further down and walking in to McDonald's for a coffee.
Right.
That's the biggest thing I'm hearing about early in the morning.
Okay. That's good to know. I hadn't heard that, so.
Okay.
These stats here on this next slide are representative of the traffic services work that they had done here this year and last. So you can see there's quite a drop there, especially in speeding violations. 2021, they had 315 over here for us, and that dropped to 78 here last year, so a significant drop. So they've kind of come back in force, I want to say, probably the last month, 4 or 5 weeks. And so they've committed to come back over here and do some more work for us, so that'll be nice to see them back. I know they've been concentrating the last couple of weeks on the construction zone outside of Antigonish there, but I think we'll see them here soon enough. So drug enforcement is another priority we were kind of focusing on. And our SKU unit, they are doing some really good work. They work quite closely with the Antigonish team because a lot of the people involved in trafficking drugs in the Strait area, they don't necessarily live in Port Hawkesbury, but they have a huge impact here. So they live in the surrounding communities. They may live in Antigonish, Guysborough, Mulgrave, Evanston. They may not live in Port Hawkesbury proper, but they're responsible for a great deal of the drug trade in town. So we've conducted several search warrants over the year that team has. They charged an individual Mulgrave several times for trafficking. He's going to be sentenced to jail time here in April, likely. So we're waiting for that. So that was it's nice to see. Just recently, very recently, yesterday, they were over active in Guysborough and executed a search warrant there. And again, quite a large quantity. So they are out working. I hear people talking and saying, hey, it seems like it's everywhere here in town. I don't disagree. It is easy to get. It's just, it seems as soon as you charge one person and shut them down, there's somebody else there who's popping up to take their place. So they are, like I said, doing really good work. They have a lot of investigations ongoing currently, and I expect that they'll continue, executing the warrants and laying those charges in the coming months. So.
Yeah.
So community involvement, again, this is an area where we like to get out and be visible and interact with folks, and it's tough coming off COVID, and now we find ourselves in a position where we don't, always have the ability on shift to get out and do these types of things. I know the members were active in the Christmas parade here. They tried to help out with that. We had quite a few Remembrance Day between here and Mulgrave and some of the other smaller communities in the area. They were active in the community attending those ceremonies. Canada Day, you had a nice celebration here. I was down there at that one. Some of the members are involved in youth activities and coaching some of the youth sports in the area, so that's nice to see. Lets the kids know that, the members are real people too, and, they can get to know them away from work, so that's great. It's nice to see that. And then school activities as well. There haven't been a whole lot that we've been involved with. We're trying to change that now between now and the end of school, but we have been in from time to time. It's easier, it seems to be the county members in some of the other communities find it easier just because they don't have the pace that the members in town do, responding to calls. It's a little easier for them to attend those things, but the members in town, they're quite willing to go and interested in being, in the schools and involved in communities. That's half the battle, to convince the members that it's worthwhile and something that, it's a benefit to them ultimately in their role in the community, then it's easier to get them in there doing that, so. Anyway, I said I'd be brief, and that's about all I have for you. Unless,
Well, that's great.
any questions?
Dave, thank you for your report. Is there any questions from council?
Through your worship.
Councilman McIver?
Thank you, Sergeant, for the presentation. And I just want to thank you for visibility around town. I haven't had any complaints lately, not seeing RCMP in different parts of the town.
Okay, that's
So
good to hear.
there must be out there.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well,
I know, but through you, Deputy Worship, I would just comment to kind of echo what Councilor McIver has said. I certainly have noticed, even though you have struggles with the number of members that you've had, I see a greater visibility around town with policing, and police vehicles and stuff throughout town. And at all hours of the day. And so I think that's a really progressive step forward, yeah.
I appreciate hearing that, because now I can go back to the members and say, because they think I'm a bit of a tyrant sometimes, I'm sure. Yell at them to get out on the road and do things, so, I can say, listen, your efforts are being recognized, right? So people see that and they know that you're out there trying, so keep it up. So no, I appreciate that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep, Dave, I know myself, Councilor McIver and myself sit on the Police Advisory Commission, and we see a lot of this, and it's great to see the rest of council and staff seeing it once in a while, and it shows the presence you have in the town, and we appreciate that as council. And thank you very much for your presentation.
Thanks, everybody, and have a good evening.
Great, thank you.
Okay, we'd like to go back to our agenda, acknowledgements. Do we have any acknowledgements this evening?
Yes, Deputy Mayor, if I
Go
could.
ahead, Councilor Corey.
Yeah, I would just want to acknowledge Patrick Laney, who is the co-owner and manager of EMM Law and a solicitor, actually the town solicitor. He's been practicing law for over 30 years in Port Hawkesbury. Patrick was one of 13 lawyers recognized on February 8th by the Justice Minister and Attorney General for years of contributions to the legal profession and for years of public service, by being given the designation of King's Counsel, which formerly we would have identified as Queen's Counsel. So I would like to offer congratulations to Mr. Laney. I would like to make a motion, if I can, for Mayor and Council to send a letter of congratulations to Mr. Laney.
You heard the motion. Do we have a seconder?
A second.
It's been moved and seconded that we send a letter to Mr. Laney on behalf of his achievement and accomplishment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Is there any other acknowledgements from council?
I have one, Deputy.
Councilor Coyne?
I'd like to acknowledge the Civic Saints High School hockey team. Last week, they beat Inverness in the Highland and became Highland Region champs and Cape Breton West High School Hockey League champions. So congratulations to them.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other acknowledgements? If none, thank you. The approval of council minutes on February 7th. Any errors or omissions? Any business arising from the minutes? Okay, could I have a motion to approve the council minutes for February 7th? Moved.
Seconded.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. No business arising? Council committee reports. Chief Administrating Officer.
Thank you, Chair. So there's a number of motions that are coming from Committee of Whole for consideration. The first one is with respect to, for your consideration, is with respect to audit contract services. And the proposed motion is that the town of Port Hawkesbury extend Grant Thornton's contract for audit services to cover the 2023 fiscal year.
You see the motion? Do we have a mover?
Moved.
Moved by Councillor Coyne, seconder.
Seconded.
Second by Councillor McQuarrie. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimous.
Next motion for consideration is with respect to the Federal Active Transportation Fund. And the proposed motion is that the town of Port Hawkesbury authorize the mayor to enter into the Canada Active Transportation Fund 2023 agreement.
Motion?
Moved.
Moved by Councillor Coyne,
Second.
second by Councillor McIver. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next motion for consideration is with respect to animal policy, and that's that the town of Port Hawkesbury create a policy for the Port Hawkesbury Civic Center that will ensure compliance to the Service Animal Act.
Okay, see the motion. Do we have a mover?
I move that
Moved by
motion.
Councillor McQuarrie. Second?
Seconded.
Second by Councillor McIver.
I do have a question.
Question?
Did we not discuss that the actual act is the Service Dog Act? Or is it the Service Animal Act? Service Dog Act.
I think this is not the Service Dog Act that we were talking about provincially. This is our own Service Animal Act, I'm assuming.
Okay. I'm good.
Chair will ensure that that the new policy will be in compliance with all acts and regulations with respect to animals, dogs specifically.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Next motion is with respect to a letter to Municipal Affairs. And the motion for consideration is that the town of Port Hawkesbury send a letter to the Department of Municipal Affairs and Housing asking to consider including mixed-use developments in the commercial assessment phase in Toole, or offer a similar benefit to help promote or encourage housing developments in municipalities.
Moved.
See the motion, you have a mover? Moved by Councillor Coyne,
Seconded.
second by Councillor McQuarrie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
And the last motion for consideration is with respect to Eastern District Planning Commission appointments. And that's that the town of Port Hawkesbury approve the Eastern District Planning Commission staff appointments for 2023 as presented at the February 21st commission meeting.
Moved. Second.
You heard the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Oh, I'm sorry.
More?
One more. This is a motion for consideration that the town of Port Hawkesbury support the Street Area Highland Dance Association with a donation of, and we didn't put that dollar value in. We went back to sort of history of supporting the Highland Dance Association. We last supported them in 2019. As we all know, we just went through years of COVID with the cancellation of competitions within that sport and culture. So the last one was 2019, which was a one-day local event, and we had sponsored the club to the amount of $500. They have asked for a donation of $1,000 to host the Atlantics and their annual competition.
What's the wish of council?
They're hosting here.
They're hosting Atlantics here in Civic, and they're renting the space at Civic. So it's the rental cost to them is $1,300.
I know, like I said in the previous presenter, that we don't usually make at regular council, but we discussed this already at committee of the whole, so I'll allow that procedure, but it's up to council to determine the amount.
I would move $1,000.
I'll second.
Moved by Councilor McIver, second by Councilor Coyne. The amount to Highland Dance Association for $1,000. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Terry, for that. We have the approval of committee of the whole minutes of February 21st. Motion for approval.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Business arising from the minutes? Is there any business arising from the minutes? If none, we have motions from our in-camera session. I think we have one motion from our in-camera session from.
Yes, Mr. Chair. So the motion coming from in camera for consideration is that the town of Port Hawkesbury proceed with the preparation and advertising of an expression of interest, request for expression of interest for land development within the town of Port Hawkesbury.
You heard the motion. Do we have a mover?
Moved.
Moved by Councilor McGuire, seconded by Councilor Coyne. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Correspondence. We have a couple of letters here. I think, did we, Terry?
Yeah, there's been two letters
Yeah,
included.
they've been circulated. One is from, to the mayor from the Order of Nova Scotia, from Christopher McCleary. And it's to, from the Honorable Arthur J. LeBlanc, who used to live in the area. He's looking for any leaders in the community that you can nominate for a position or whatever. So the letter's there. Any questions on the letter?
No.
Okay. And Cape Breton South one, we have, it's from Gina. Any questions on that? From Councilor McCory and is on the committee? No?
No, I have no questions. The letter just spells out that there is a Community of Care Awards that's
Second
going to
year.
take place. And the nominations, the letter indicates close on Wednesday, March 22nd. And I believe there's been some information forwarded to the town around that. Yep.
This is the second year
Yes.
it's been going on. Okay. Questions about that? That's it for correspondence. We have proclamations, resolutions. We have one proclamation here. And it's the proclamation parental alienation awareness day and bubble of love day. And the proclamation is, whereas the parental alienation deprives children of their right to love and be loved by their whole family, and it's very damaging to children. Whereas behavior such as speaking negatively about a parent to or in front of a child can destroy the bond between the loving parent and the child. Whereas awareness of this issue creates education and understanding to better the lives of the children in our community. And whereas April is the National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and parental alienation is considered from a child psychologically abused. Whereas this year is the 2023 Annual Parental Alienation Awareness Day, and the caring citizens of our community will gather together and join others around the world to blow bubbles of love to symbolize that as bubbles flow freely, so should the natural love that our child has for both parents and both sides of the family. Now, therefore, I, Huey McDougall, Deputy Mayor of Port Hawkesbury, Nova Scotia, for the sake of precious children in our community and the world, do hereby proclaim April 25th, 2023 as Parent Alienation Awareness Day and Bubble of Love Day in Port Hawkesbury, Nova Scotia. Could I have a mover to approve that?
Move.
Second.
Moved and second to approve the proclamation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, council.
Deputy Mayor, just in terms of correspondence, I see in the package there was another,
Oh, sorry.
another bit of correspondence there from the Epilepsy Association of the Maritimes.
I didn't have that in my package, but you can read it. Okay, under correspondence, we have a letter of from the Epilepsy Association of Maritimes for Purple Ribbon Day. This is one of the recent ones.
March 26th.
March 26th will be Purple Ribbon Day for to represent Epilepsy Association of Maritimes. And the town of Port Hawkesbury will participate. We have a motion for that?
Moved.
Moved. Thank you, Councilman.
Seconded.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion adopted. Thank you, Council. Other business, we have council expenses. Mr. Doyle?
Yes, Chair, so for the month of January, there's a revised statement, which is, it's typically, it occurs because there's new receipts that have been submitted after after we provided that to council, so that's a revised statement, and that's in the order of $2,772 for the month of January.
Okay. And that's online?
And that, yes, and we have one more expense form, and that's for the month of February. For the month of February, less activity during that month. Total expenses for council and CAO were $634.
Okay, that's information, no action necessary. Thank you, Mr. Doyle. Okay, Waterfront Advisory appointment, Mr. Doyle.
Yes, so we have a late volunteer for the Waterfront Advisory Committee, and that's Paula Davis. So Paula has agreed to join the committee and to help us through that process. So we'd like for council to appoint Paula to that committee.
What's the wish of council?
I'd make the motion.
Moved by Councilor McCoy,
Second.
seconded by Councilor McIver. We appoint Paula Davis to the Waterfront Development Waterfront Advisory Committee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. For Hawkesbury Civic Center logo. Mr. Doyle.
Sure.
Putting you on the spot tonight.
Yeah, I thought Michelle was going to be here. So just as I believe you know, we've been very fortunate to get a grant, actually 2 grants, to support the refresh of the Civic Center. So one of the aspects that we've been approved for is a new logo, is to have a new logo produced for the Civic Center. There's also some other items. There's a number of items as well. We'll look at technology upgrades to the Civic Center, which is included in another part of this. There's a redesign of the website and a number of improvements that are going to help the Civic Center through some extra funding. This is the logo portion. So we've worked with Vibe Consulting, and they've worked with us before on our logos. And this is what's been presented. And I had asked Michelle Farrow, our Director of Recreation, to bring this forward to council for your information and for any comments or any suggestions that we can take back on through this process. So this is, I think it was in your package. So this is it's really bringing it into, it brings it in line with the change in logo for the town of Port Hawkesbury, for a starter. So it's that same thing. But there's use of colors and it can be in multiple colors. So it's shown being used in some signage. That's another example of how it would look on signage, how it looks on uniforms, and for here, that's another component actually is to refresh our uniforms for the building staff of the Civic Center. So that's the new logo. So glad to take any comments or suggestions from council with respect to that logo change.
Any questions of council? Logo change? No action necessary, just for information.
If there was concern, we'd certainly deal with that or bring it back. If not, then we'll move forward.
Yeah, Councillor.
Was this the only logo presented?
Yeah, there was work back and forth primarily between staff, and that's what we've received. So I don't have another version to show you. I can certainly pass that on to council. I'll speak to the director and see if there's any other versions. I would ask though if there's concerns, if there's something, or you'd like to compare it with another.
I'm just asking to see if there was any other.
Sure.
I mean, different colored ones, they're all the same, just different colors.
So, Mr. Chair, I'll be glad to. I'll speak with the director, and we'll send out what the other versions that were looked at. There's a process that we go through, and discussions around what it would look like, and then there would have been review of some versions. So we'll send information off to council on that.
Yeah, that'll be good. If
Thank you.
Council to get the information. Yeah. I know when we originally moved this, there was some opposition about where the town flag was with the town crest. Like I see Councillor Coyne had it on his jacket this evening. But anyway, you can send them out, that'd be great.
Good.
Okay, approved additions, bylaws, Councillor Coyne.
Thank you, through you, Deputy. So as we're all aware, there's a group sitting together with Inverness County, Mulgrave, Richmond County, and the town of Port Hawkesbury looking at the possibility of a shared bylaw officer. So we had a meeting last night, and I was asked to come back to council, and I don't need the 3 tonight, but if we can get it within the next week or two, the top 3 priorities we would have for the top 3 bylaws for enforcement. Not saying that will be the only 3 bylaws that if we enter into this agreement that they will enforce, but they're asking each municipality of the top 3, because It's funny with the 4 municipalities, our bylaws really don't match up. So they want to take our top 3 and have, if we go into this agreement, have that bylaw officer really understand those 3 bylaws.
Okay, any questions from council? That's something we've been looking for a long time, is to try to get a bylaw officer, and I'm glad personally that there's some work being done. Thank you, councillor, on that.
Thank you.
Okay. Future meetings, committee of the whole, Tuesday, March 21st. Public meeting of council, Tuesday, April 4th. Public questions, any questions from the public on any topics that was discussed tonight at our meeting? Hearing none, motion for adjournment in order.
So moved.
We have a motion to
Second.
move to second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, council.